Hello everyone. Today we will start the first chapter of civics named Introduction to the Parliamentary System. As we all know, our country follows the democratic kind of government, right? In democracy, there are different types of the system. Like in our country, we are following the parliamentary system, and most of the other country following the presidential system. We all know whether a country, whether a family, whether a society, there should be a governance. गवर्नेंस की बहुत ज़रूरत है. अब ये सिस्टम कौन रिस्पॉन्सिबल होगा, कौन इसको हैंडल करेगा? फॉर दैट वी इलेक्ट अवर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव, right, and they work according to the constitution. So this is the basic thing which we know, right? And most of the nation in today's world following the democratic principles. But in democracy also, as we discussed, there are different types or the different system. Many country follows the parliamentary system, many country follows the presidential system, and many other country have their own type of system. Understood? So in our country we are following the parliamentary system, and in this chapter we will take a brief account, or we will take a knowledge of the parliamentary system as well as the presidential system, because these are the two important kind of system in democracy that followed by most of the country. A very simple example: India follows the parliamentary system, whereas America follows the presidential system. Right? You had always heard the news of the Indian politics or the American politics. In Indian politics, we had seen, we always heard or listened the name of our Prime Minister. In the same way, in America, we heard the name of the President. Okay? So these system followed by the different countries, different procedure to govern their own nation. So in this chapter, we will learn the machinery or the system of government as given in the Indian Constitution. And moreover, we all know these all functions happen according to the Constitution. These questions, so there are few questions given. What is the parliamentary system of government? In India we have Prime Minister, but why there is no Prime Minister in United States of America? What is the difference between a parliamentary and presidential system of government? So these are the questions that relate to a topic. So answer to this question we will find in the coming topic. This question would lead us to conclude that every country has a different form of government. Right? It's clear. Before we go ahead to understand different types of government system, let us get information about the main branches of government. Okay? The function of the legislature is to make law. We all know na, legislative, executive and judiciary. These are the three important pillars of democracy. Remember it. You can underline also. Legislative, executive and judiciary are the three important pillars of democracy. Okay? What does the function of these three pillars? Legislative, to make law. Executive, to implement the law, to follow the law. And judiciary, to handle the judicial system. Okay? Clear? The function of the legislature is to make law. The executive implements the law, and judicial system provides justice. Okay? The function of this organ, their jurisdiction and limitations on their power and the interrelationship between these organs are decided by the Constitution. So the function, their limitations, their jurisdiction. What is jurisdiction? A set boundary. Jurisdiction means a legal boundary or the legal limitations. Legislative कितने हद तक जा सकते हैं, लेजिस्लेटिव पावर कितना होगा, एग्जीक्यूटिव का कितना पावर होगा, जुडिशियल का पावर कैसे होगा. क्योंकि अगर ये लोग आपस में एक दूसरे काम में इंटरफेरेंस करेंगे तो शायद हमारे कंट्री में जो प्रॉपर सिस्टम है फॉलो नहीं हो पाए. तो सबका एक अपना लिमिटेशन होता है, सिर्फ लेजिस्लेटिव, एग्जीक्यूटिव और जुडिशरी का नहीं. एवरी इंडिविजुअल हैज अ सर्टेन काइंड ऑफ limitations. So this is the legal limitations, or you can say a set boundary that is called as the jurisdiction. Okay, many times we see now, for example, there are different territories. Since we are living in India, but our department or we handled by the KDMC. So KDMC has a certain jurisdiction, right? In the same way, BMC have their own jurisdiction. Different aspects have that. The function of this group, their jurisdiction and limitations on their power and the interrelationship between these organs are decided by the constitution. It is the nature of their interrelationship that determines the system of government adopted in a particular country. So it's a choice, or it's the function of the country that they adopt the system which may help to them. There are two main types of government systems. Basically, there are many types of government system, but two are the important types. They are the parliamentary system and the presidential system. So let us take a look of the parliamentary system. As we know, we follow the parliamentary system. So how this parliamentary system started in India, and what are the importance or the functions of the parliamentary system. The parliamentary system of government developed primarily in England. So this kind of system was primarily developed in England. The English constitution is an unwritten constitution, but there is a difference. In English constitution, it was an unwritten constitution. Like us, we are following the parliamentary system, but our constitution is written. So if you compare to America, they following the presidential constitution, but their constitution is written. So if we compare from America or the England, so we are following the mixture of both the country. We took parliamentary system from England, and we took written constitution from America. So we tried to make a better constitution or the better governance. Okay. The English constitution is an unwritten constitution. The governance is carried out in accordance with tradition and customs and conventions. The British Parliament is an institution that evolved over a period of time. Evolved over a period of time means it was established long back, right? Even we inspired from the Britishers. As we all know, Britishers stayed for a longer period in India. We had seen the functions of the Britishers, the way they work, the way they propagate. So we adapted that, right? वो हैबिट हमें भी आ गई, और हम लोगों ने देखा कि ब्रिटिश किस तरह से काम करते हैं, तो हमें वो सीखना बहुत ही ईजी था. सो दैट्स वाई वी फॉलोड द सेम सिस्टम. ओके. द पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम ऑफ गवर्नमेंट हैविंग इट्स रूट इन पार्लियामेंट, राइट? इट्स ट्रू. The parliamentary system of government having its root in parliament is considered as a contribution of England. So it is considered as a contribution of England because, as we know, it was derived, this culture, this tradition, from the England. India has adopted this parliamentary system. We can see some broad similarities in the parliamentary system of England and the parliamentary system of India. So if we compare, we will see a broad similarities. Broad means a huge similarities. Again the same, the reason was the same. क्या रीज़न है, क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है? क्योंकि ब्रिटिशर्स ने हमारे कंट्री में लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सेटअप किए. हम लोग ने हिस्ट्री में पढ़ा हुआ है ना, उन्होंने हमारे कंट्री में नए नए लॉ लाए, नए नए पॉलिसीज लाए, सिविल सर्विसेज स्टार्ट किया हमारी कंट्री में. उन लोग ने नए नए यूनिफॉर्मिटी लाई. इसका असर तो हमारे ऊपर है, हमारे सिस्टम में दिखेगा. एंड दिस हैड हैपेंड इन द लॉन्ग बैक. But when looked at the institutional level, that Indian parliamentary system is differed in its content. Let us understand the characteristics of the Indian parliamentary system of government in India. So let's take a look of the Indian parliamentary system that we follow. The parliamentary system is a system of governance, right? What does the governance means? Governance means to take care. Like our father or our elder brother or head of the family look after the family. So who will look after the country? कौन country का ध्यान रखेगा? So that's why we made a system where we elect our representative. They have the responsibility of whole nation. For example, we are living in a society. We have a different committee members. They look after the activities of society, whether they are chairman, trustee, or you can say treasurer. Most important example, or the what we say a very common example, we all had seen the Tarak Mehta show, right? In that Atmaram Bide, he took the responsibility of the welfare of the society, every activity, right? So in this way, government, we need a government who will govern us, Okay. The legislature of the central government is known as the parliament. The Indian parliament is composed means included, president, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay, our Indian parliament consists of president, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Members of the Lok Sabha are directly elected by people. The number of members in the house is fixed. If we compare Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the members in Lok Sabha are fixed rather than the Rajya Sabha. The members of Lok Sabha are directly elected by the people, but members of Rajya Sabha are indirectly elected by the people. So these are the few differences, right? Lok Sabha is considered the first house, Rajya Sabha is considered the second house, Lok Sabha is considered the lower house, Rajya Sabha is considered the upper house. So these are the few differences between the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. We know the two important houses of the parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Elections to the Lok Sabha are held at regular intervals. All political parties contest the election. We know the basic procedure of the election. उतना तो हमें पता है. Election happens at a regular interval of time, that is of the 5 years. कभी कभी 5 years के पहले भी होता है, क्योंकि अगर गवर्नमेंट में कुछ इश्यूज है, अगर एग्जिस्टिंग गवर्नमेंट भी अच्छे से काम नहीं कर रही तो 5 years के पहले भी होता है. बट एक जो रेगुलर इंटरवल है 5 year का होता है, जिसमें इलेक्शन होता है, हम अपना वोट कास्ट करते हैं और अपने रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स को इलेक्ट करते हैं. फिर उसमें क्या होता है, बहुत सारी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी होती है जो पार्टिसिपेट करती है, बट जिस पॉलिटिकल पार्टी को सबसे ज़्यादा वोट्स और सीट्स मिलते हैं, दे आर कंसिडर्ड एज द विनर एंड दे गॉट द पावर ऑफ द गवर्नेंस. उनको पावर मिलता है रूल करने का और यू कैन से द कंट्रोल करने का, राइट. Elections to the Lok Sabha are held at regular intervals. All political parties contest these elections. The party which gets more than half of the seats is considered as the majority party. The political party which gets the majority, 50%, more than 50%, they are considered the majority, and those who get the less, they are called as a minority. Majority means more number. The majority party forms the government, and majority party will get the chance to form the government. Sometimes when no party gets a clear majority, some party come together to form a majority and they can establish the government. This kind of government is known as the coalition government. So these are the basic things which we already heard in the news channels. बहुत बार हमने देखा है ना, जब जो existing political party होती है उसके पास अगर majority नहीं है तो 2-3 अलग-अलग political party मिलके एक group बनाते हैं and they form the majority, and such kind of government is called the coalition government, as we had seen in Maharashtra, right? Currently in Maharashtra we have 3 different political parties. They made the government, right? Because none of the single political party had that kind of seats or the votes. Understood? Not confusing now? Simple election process. There are so many political party. If any political party gets more than 50% of the seat, then it is considered as a majority party and they will get a chance to rule the nation, or they be in the power. But what happened if any party doesn't get the 50% of this vote? So 2 or 3 party can come together and they form a government. In this way, candidates directly elected by people become members of the legislature, and party in majority gets a chance to form a government. The leader of the majority. Then what functions done after the elections? The leader of the majority party is considered as the, or declared as the Prime Minister. Then Prime Minister's responsibility is to appoint the Council of Ministers, right? For example, we are not discussing about any political party. For example, BJP is in majority. So who is the head of BJP? Narendra Modi. He became the Prime Minister. Then what is the responsibility of Narendra Modi? To elect the Council of Ministers, right? Alag department hai, like the education department, or you can say education minister, health minister, transport minister, defense minister, agriculture minister, right? So in this way, it's the prime minister's responsibility to form a cabinet, or you can say a group of the council of ministers. The leader of the majority party becomes the prime minister. He or she selects candidate for ministerial position from among his or her colleagues. Colleagues we know, our companions, जो हमारे साथ में हैं, हमारे साथ में काम करते हैं या हमारे साथ में सेम फील्ड में. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers chosen by the Prime Minister together form the executive. So legislative काम क्या है? पार्लियामेंट का. उसके बाद जो एक टीम होती है, दे वर्क एज एग्जीक्यूटिव. जो भी हमारी कंट्री में नए लॉ होते हैं, नए डिसीजन होते हैं, वो कौन लेते हैं? प्राइम मिनिस्टर एंड दी काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स, राइट. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers chosen by the Prime Minister together forms the executive in the parliamentary system of government. In parliamentary system, the executive has a dual responsibility, or double responsibility. Because those who are in the executive, they need to fulfill the two responsibilities. For example, we elected a representative from our KDMC. So that person need to look after the welfare of the KDMC, and plus that minister was designated as education minister. It means he has to fulfill the two responsibilities, that is called the double responsibility. एक तो वो हमारे KDMC के मिनिस्टर है, तो उस मिनिस्टर को KDMC के डेवलपमेंट और वेलफेयर के बारे में सोचना है, और अगर वो एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर भी अपॉइंट हुए हैं तो उनको एजुकेशन के बारे में भी सोचना है. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड द डुअल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. डुअल मीन्स डबल, टू, like we have a dual SIM in our phone. Very simple. As an executive, they have to implement law. That is the first responsibility. And the second, as they are the member of the legislature, they also have to fulfill responsibilities of the legislature. Because it's our expectation na, कि our representative should look after us. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers is responsible to the legislature for all their actions and policies. Right? So it is a responsibility of the Prime Minister and the Minister for all their actions and policies. What does it mean? They are responsible for any decision. अगर एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर ने कोई डिसीजन लिया है तो ये कंप्लीटली एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर की जिम्मेदारी है, एंड प्लस ये किसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है? प्राइम मिनिस्टर की. बिकॉज प्राइम मिनिस्टर क्या है? वो उस ग्रुप के लीडर है, वो टीम के लीडर है, एंड वी ऑल नो टीम लीडर हैज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू ऑल द टीम मेंबर्स. करेक्ट? It means that the Council of Ministers has to work with the legislature. It is for this reason that the parliamentary system is known as a responsible system of government. That's why, this is the reason the parliamentary system is called as a responsible system of government. Responsibility है, पावर का मिसयूज नहीं करना है, राइट? अगर कोई गलती होती भी है तो उसे एक्सेप्ट करो और उस गलती को सुधारने की कोशिश करो, rather than ignoring that issues. Okay? Another distinct characters. What are distinct? Different. अगर हम और भी दूसरे characters की बात करें, another distinct character of a parliamentary system of government is collective responsibility. What is collective? Collective means together. Collective means together as a group. Right? यहाँ पे individual का कोई काम नहीं है, काम है टीम वर्क का, ग्रुप का. और ये टीम प्रॉपर फंक्शन कर रही नहीं, ये किसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है? प्राइम मिनिस्टर की. राइट? डिसीजन टेकन बाय एनी मिनिस्ट्री और डिपार्टमेंट इज कंसीडर्ड एज डिसीजन ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. राइट? द एंटायर काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द डिसीजन. In the next two chapters, we will see with example how the principle of collective responsibility is brought into practice. So in further chapters, we will discuss more about our democracy. Like we had seen three important pillars: legislative, executive and judiciary. So this is our chapter number 1. In chapter number 2, we will discuss about the legislative. In chapter number 3, we will discuss about executive. In chapter number 4, we will discuss about judicial system. So that's why it is written in next two chapter. In chapter 2nd and 3rd, we will discuss about the legislative and executive, the topic which we are discussing or talking. Okay? In the parliamentary system, the executive is dependent upon the confidence of the legislature in them. This means that the Council of Ministers remains in power till it enjoys the support or confidence of the legislature. Right? What does it mean? It means that the Council of Ministers remains in power till it enjoys the support of confidence of the legislature. It means if they get the support, then only they are in the power. So for that, they should need to work in a proper or in a constitutional manner. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपके हाथ में पावर मिला है, आप मिनिस्टर हो तो आप अपनी कोई भी मनमर्जी या कोई भी मनमानी करो. If the legislature feels that the executive does not work in accordance to its wishes, it removes the executive, right, from power by passing a no confidence motion. ये एक प्रोसीजर होता है, नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन. इसमें क्या होता है, जो लीडर्स होते हैं वो एग्जीक्यूटिव टीम के खिलाफ खड़े होते हैं, एंड इट मीन्स दैट दे हैड लॉस्ट देयर कॉन्फिडेंस इन द एग्जिस्टिंग टीम और इन द एग्जिस्टिंग गवर्नमेंट. सो इस कंडीशन में क्या होता है, अगर ये नॉन कॉन्फिडेंस जो मोशन होता है, अगर इसमें ज़्यादा लोगों को सपोर्ट आया तो एग्जिस्टिंग गवर्नमेंट कोलैप्स भी हो सकती है, री इलेक्शंस भी हो सकते हैं, या फिर एक नई टीम बन सकती है. सो इसका मतलब ये है कि सिर्फ वोटिंग का पावर नहीं होता है, वोटिंग के बाद भी बहुत सारे पावर होते हैं जिसके ऊपर हम लोग गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर प्रेशर डाल सकते हैं, और हम चाहते हैं कि वो हमारे वेलफेयर और हमारे डेवलपमेंट के लिए काम करे. If the legislative feels that the executive does not work in accordance to its wishes, it removes the executive from power by passing a no confidence motion against the executive. No confidence motion is an effective tool of keeping a check over the executive. और ये एक इफेक्टिव टूल है, एक इफेक्टिव हमारे पास तरीका है जिससे हम गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर प्रेशर डाल सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वी ऑल स्टूडेंट made a head boy, or you can say a monitor to someone, but we had seen he or she is not functioning properly or doing partiality, right, or not managing the class in a proper way, so we can easily remove that, right. So that is the power. In the parliamentary form of government, the legislature is the supreme institution. What is supreme institution? Supreme institution means higher authority. In our parliamentary system, parliament considered as the highest authority, supreme authority. Elected members of people, demands and aspirations of common people in the parliament. And what does our representative do? Our representative demands for our welfare or our needs or our aspirations. What are aspiration? Desires. हमारी जो भी ज़रूरतें होते हैं, हमारे जो विशेस होते हैं, वो हमारे रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स पार्लियामेंट में डिमांड करते हैं. आप लोगों ने बहुत बार टीवी में देखा होगा पार्लियामेंट का सिनेरियो, कैसे वहाँ पे आर्गुमेंट करते हैं, डिस्कस करते हैं, कभी कभी वहाँ पे थोड़े बहुत झगड़े भी हो जाते हैं, राइट, बिकॉज मैनी लीडर्स आर वेरी मच एग्रेसिव एंड दे वांट देयर डिमांड शुड बी फुलफिल्ड वेरी फास्ट. द पार्लियामेंट डिसाइड्स अपॉन इश्यूज ऑफ पब्लिक वेलफेयर, and in the same way parliament decides about the issues of public welfare, since it is the house of representatives of people and expresses sovereignty, authority of the people. What is sovereignty? Sovereignty means not controlled by anyone, or you can say independent decision. Sovereignty means not controlled by anyone. It is considered as a supreme body. That's why parliament is considered a supreme body. पार्लियामेंट में जो भी डिस्कशन होते हैं, जो भी डिसीजंस लिए जाते हैं, वो पब्लिक के वेलफेयर के बारे में होते हैं और पब्लिक के वेलफेयर के बारे में सोच के होते हैं. ऐसे कोई भी रैंडम डिसीजन नहीं लिया जाता है. Why did India adopt a parliamentary system of government? So we had came through about what is the parliamentary system and what was the reason why India adopted this parliamentary system. India adopted the parliamentary system of government for several reasons. There are so many reasons. The development of parliamentary institutions started during the British rule. As we all know, during the time of British rule, this system was started in our country. The British rulers governed in democratic, in accordance with this system. So British rulers ruled in accordance with the system, and so we are very much aware of this system. The parliamentary system of government in India is also in a way of product of the freedom movement. Indians were familiar to this system of government. We are very much familiar of this system because most of our leaders are involved in the legislative assembly during the time of Britishers. They know the functioning of the system. Many discussions took place in the Constituent Assembly over the system of government. What is Constituent Assembly? Constituent Assembly means that assembly elected by the representatives. Constituent Assembly means assembly elected by the representatives. So many discussions happened in the Constituent Assembly. The framers means maker. Framers means maker. Like we know, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar played a very important role in making the constitution. Also, so many people helped him or supported him. The framers of the constitution made few changes in the parliamentary system to suit the Indian situation. Since they are aware of the situation of India. जो हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाने वाले थे उनको ब्रिटिश सिस्टम तो पता था, बट उनको ये भी पता था कि हमारे इंडियंस की रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, हमारे इंडियंस की थिंकिंग क्या है. वो हिसाब से उसमें मॉडिफिकेशन किए गए, चेंजेस लाए गए और कोशिश की गई कि हम एक बेटर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना सकें. Discussion and deliberations are an integral part of the parliamentary form of government. Discussion and deliberations. What are deliberations? Deliberation is thinking in detail. ये जो डिसीजन लिया गया सिर्फ ऐसी assumptions में नहीं लिया गया, इसको डिटेल में समझा गया. Right? Are an integral part of the parliamentary form. What are integral? Undivided, which cannot be divided or which cannot be separated. Questions related to public welfare are discussed in the legislature. राइट, क्वेश्चंस अबाउट द पब्लिक वेलफेयर, लोगों के लिए क्या फायदा है, लोगों को कैसे बेनिफिट मिलेगा, ये सारे क्वेश्चन डिस्कशन हुए. मेंबर्स फ्रॉम द ऑपोजिशन पार्टी आल्सो टेक पार्ट इन दिस डिस्कशन. यू हैव सीन इन द पार्लियामेंट ऑल द इलेक्टेड मेंबर्स सिटिंग टुगेदर डिस्कसिंग, आर्गुइंग और गिविंग द सजेशन. तो उसमें जो मेजॉरिटी पार्टी के लोग होते हैं वो तो गवर्नमेंट में होते हैं, पावर में होते हैं, बट देयर आर ऑपोजिशन पार्टीज आल्सो, दे आर हु आर नॉट इन द गवर्नमेंट. Right, for example, if you see the today's scenario in our country, BJP is in the power and Congress is in the opposition party. So opposition party also plays a very important role because it's a human tendency. If someone don't criticize us, then we won't work better. Understood? जब तक कोई हमारे पे पॉइंट आउट नहीं करता है या कोई हमारी मिस्टेक्स को फाइंड नहीं करता है तो हम उसको रियलाइज नहीं करते हैं या फिर हम उसको बेटर करने की कोशिश नहीं करते. तो ऑपोजिशन होना कोई गलत बात नहीं है, बट दैट शुड बी इन अ फेयर वे. अगर आपके क्लास में कोई आपका फ्रेंड कोई डिसीजन लेकर आ रहा है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप उसको सपोर्ट करो क्योंकि आपका फ्रेंड है. आप उसको अपोज भी कर सकते हो अगर वो डिसीजन गलत है तो. रिमेंबर दैट. एंड इवन इफ योर एनिमी गिव्स यू सजेशन एंड द सजेशन इज गुड, देन एक्सेप्ट इट. नो नीड टू अपोज इट. अंडरस्टूड? Questions related to public welfare are discussed in the legislature. Members from the opposition party also take part in this discussion. Opposition parties may support the government wherever appropriate. Appropriate means genuine, proper. So whenever the decision or discussion is appropriate, then opposition party will support. Opposition parties may support the government wherever appropriate, point out shortcomings, and they also point out in policies and law, put up studied arguments and questions, etc. This helps the legislator to make proper law, and in this way this system makes a proper law in our country. Okay, that is all about the parliamentary system. Understood the basic concept of the parliamentary system. In further chapter we will discuss more about the parliamentary system in aspect to legislative, executive and judiciary. Now next is presidential system of government. Presidential system of government can be said to be another important system of government. As we know, there are so many different systems of government, but two important systems are presidential and parliamentary. Presidential system of government can be said to be important system of government. This type of system exists in countries such as United States of America. This system is different from the parliamentary form. There are few differences between the parliamentary and presidential. If you talk about the presidential system, the president is the executive and is independent of the legislature, and as the head of the state is directly elected by the people. Like in our country, we elect prime minister. In the same way, in presidential, people elect their president. Okay, and president is the head of the executive. Such a system is known as the presidential system of government. Though the three organs, legislative, executive and judiciary, independent from each other, there are enough connection between them to work in harmony or coordination. So being different organization or different part, because the organ you know, we have different organs in our body. So in this system there are three important organs, legislative and executive and judiciary. So they are separate but they work in coordination. Coordination means with each other and in the harmony is happiness. The United States of America has adopted the presidential system of government, and the United States of America and so many other countries also accepted the presidential system of government. These are the few features of this system of government. There are so many features of the system of presidential government. Like, in presidential form of government, the legislature and the executive are not directly dependent on each other. Right? How in our country? In our country, legislative or in parliamentary system, legislative and executive are dependent on each other. Don't get confused. In parliamentary, legislative and executive depend on each other. Judicial system is not depending on any, not on legislative, not on executive. Okay? If we talk about the presidential system, in presidential system, legislative and executive not depend on each other. That's the difference. The houses of the legislature and the president are directly elected by the people, right? The president is the executive head and has lot of power, including power to implement law. So president has a lot of power, they can implement the law. In spite of such a structure, the structure is a bit different. In spite means even though. In spite means even though. Even though such a structure, the legislature and executive keeps a check on each other. They are not dependent on each other, but they keep a check on each other, so that any of the house don't do any mistake, or any of the department don't do any mistake. This mutual control over each other can lead to a responsible government. So in this way, in presidential system also there is a responsible government. We already discussed in parliamentary system it is called a responsible government. So in this way, due to this function, presidential system is also called as a responsible government. Apart from the parliamentary and presidential systems of government, there are other forms of government system that are followed in France, Switzerland, Germany, etc. So there are so many countries in the world, they follow different kinds of or different types of government apart from the presidential and parliamentary. Several countries, owing to their unique circumstances. Owing, what does the owing means? Owing means done something for somebody. Owing means to do something for somebody, right? So they have their unique circumstances, unique situation, have evolved different systems of government. Evolved means developed gradually. Evolved, जैसे उन्होंने शुरू किया, develop किया. So this is all about the parliamentary system of our country. So in next chapter we will learn more about the executive. Okay? Come to the exercise. Quite easy chapter. Interesting. Okay? First, parliamentary system of government developed in which country? It was developed in England. Option A. In the presidential system, dash is the executive head. In the presidential system, who is the executive head? President. Option C. Complete the following table. It's simple. Name of the institution and their function. Legislative, to make law. Executive, to implement the law. Judiciary, to handle the judicial system. Okay? Clear? Quite easy. Next, explain the following statement with reason. We need to explain this statement with the reason. India adopted the parliamentary system of government. Why India adopted the parliamentary system of government? You will find the answer on page number 68. Why India adopted the parliamentary system of government? The answer is on the page 68 on the right hand side, first paragraph. The parliamentary system of government having its root in parliament is considered as a contribution of England. Okay? India has adopted this parliamentary system. We can see some broad similarities in the parliamentary system of England and the parliamentary system of India. Okay? Understood? And you can also add the point that we are aware with the working system of the Britishers. Many Indian leaders are also in the British Assembly. Correct? Discussion and deliberations are important in parliamentary system of government, right? there should be discussion and deliberations now. With the help of discussion and deliberations, we can find a solution to every problem. It's on the page number 69, right hand side, the second last paragraph. Discussion and deliberations are an integral part of the parliamentary form of government. Questions related to public welfare are discussed in the legislature. Members from the opposition party also take part in this discussion. Right? Next, answer the following in 25 to 30 words. What is a responsible government? What is a responsible government? You'll find the answer on page 69. Third paragraph. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers is responsible to the legislature for all their actions and policies. It means that the Council of Ministers has to work with the legislature. It is for the reason that the parliamentary system is known as a responsible system of government. Okay? Next, enumerate the characteristics of the presidential system of government. On the same page we have the answer. We have a features of the parliamentary system of government. Presidential system of government. Right, on the same page we have different points. We can write it. Last, why is the role of opposition party important? Write your opinion. So the answer should be written by you. What do you think? Why the opposition is important? You can find it on page number 69. Opposition party may support the government whenever appropriate, point out shortcomings in policies and law, put up studied arguments and questions, etc. This helps the legislature to make proper law. So in this way, opposition also plays a very important role in the parliament. Understood? Clear? Very short and simple chapter. The basic of our parliamentary system. So in further chapter, this topic will help us. So go through the chapter, understand it. Then in coming chapters, it will very easy to grasp it. Okay? So thank you everyone. Thank you so much.